Start. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rooted in Her, a storytelling series within MJ's Garden where we create a space for women to share the experiences, passions, challenges, and journeys that have shaped who they are today. Every woman has roots, every woman has a story, and sometimes hearing someone else's story helps us understand our own a little better. Today's guest may already be familiar to some of our MJ's Garden community. We had the opportunity to read her book, Imperfect, together during book club, and she has even joined us for a conversation about the book. But today, I want to go deeper. I don't want you to just meet Kat Floridia, the author. I want you to meet Kat, the woman behind the words. Kat, welcome to Rooted in Her. How you
Thank you.
doing?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm so honored that you wanted to be a part of our
You're honored. I'm honored that you keep asking me to be part of MJ's Garden.
Dude, you are in MJ's garden. I don't even know if
Right.
you know. Sorry. Not even sorry. I've planted you. You're in there. We're going to
Well,
figure
I'm
it out.
growing though. I'll keep growing with you though. That's a good thing.
Is it exactly? Exactly. I always like to start with the woman before the title. If we took away author and everything you do professionally, who is Kat?
Ooh, I love and hate this question. I'm gonna make it more fun and say I am authentically a Taurus. So my zodiac sign is a Taurus, and my roots are really in that.
Okay.
So consistency, stability. I'm very much into loyalty, and I think those are the roots and the pillars I live by as I continue through life and navigating who I am. I think when I hit like my 30s, I think that I think at any time in our lives, we always feel like there's that switch, right? Where we're saying, you just flip a switch. I want to change who I am. I want to change who I'm growing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I entered my 30s, I started to do that. And I found my way back to faith, along with really reading more about being my Taurus zodiac. And most importantly, loving myself. So I think a lot of us struggle with self love,
Do you?
and we may never even find it. But I'm learning to do that, and that's kind of just me learning who I am. I'm finally just sitting down and saying, "Who's Kat Floridia? Like, who am I? Where was I?" Because I feel like I lost myself for so many years. So for the first time in so many years, I feel like I'm trying to understand myself, understand my tendencies because I'm a Taurus, and just trying to accept myself because I've never really accepted myself, which is kind of crazy.
I completely understand, and I feel like a lot of people can agree with that in terms of like losing themselves, rediscovering, and self care, like you had said, or not self care. Well, no, self care and self love
It is.
specifically is a an ever revolving door. You can't. I don't think you'll ever be able to completely find it, if that makes sense. You're always going to be continuously seeking that because you're always
And,
growing.
and that's sad, I think, too. I think that's right on, but I think it's sad. But if you can find at least a piece of it, and that's what I'm trying to do, I
Right,
think that.
the stages of life. How do people closest to you describe you?
Ooh, I would say loyal, consistent, driven, stubborn. I will even say negative in there, probably stubborn. I am very stubborn. I'm very stuck in my ways. I do not like change.
I'm weak.
I do myself.
I feel called out. Director of Life. Wait, I'm not being interviewed right now. This isn't my interview. Why are we talking about me?
No, I think that's the groundwork, and I think just I've always just been hardworking, and I think what I do is I pour so much of myself into others. At least I feel that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like my neighbor Marianne, who I'm very close to, will say, but I don't pour that same love into myself. I try to give. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect in all means, but I just try to, I guess, give what I feel like I've never received because
Receive.
I know someone. Because I feel like even though I'm suffering inside, if I can help someone else and that helps them out, that makes me feel good.
No, I feel that. I can definitely attune to that. The whole like, giving nature, just like the. No, that totally makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Let's see. Social media, books, and even interviews only give us a piece of the person. What side of Kat do you wish people saw more often?
Oh, I'm getting emotional. I didn't expect. I think, and we said what side that maybe don't see of me. Is that what's the question? Sorry.
You're okay. What's a side of you that you wish people got to see more often?
I think, and then again, I'm getting emotional again, so I forgot the question. But I think the side people don't see of me, is my vulnerable side. I think I'm naturally guarded. I think because if all that I've been through life, that I just feel like I always feel like I'm in fight mode for some reason. And I think that people never realize though that I'm deep inside. I am a very sensitive person. I carry a lot of weight in silence because I never want to show it. And I think that, and I think my neighbor even said, sorry, I'm going to mention my neighbor a lot because we're really
No, you're
close. But
fine. Dude. You're
yeah,
fine.
no, she even said that too. She's like, over the last few years and even writing this book, she's like, I can tell like you opened your heart to me. And she's like, I feel like I'm one of those rare people I let in. And so I think just that vulnerable side of me that people don't see, to give me a chance to get to know me. Again, I think a lot of what my book is about is judging a book by its cover. And just because I'm not the loudest in the room, or maybe because I'm more reserved, people think, oh, she's standoffish, she doesn't want to be involved. It's just that's my nature. And I think if you just give me an opportunity, sometimes it just takes 2 or 3 interactions, and then I feel comfortable with you, and then I'll start to let you in. But I think just anyone, giving people a chance and getting willing to know them instead of judging them. But definitely more of my vulnerable side, I don't show a lot, and I know people crave it sometimes, and it just takes me a lot of time to get there.
No, that makes sense. Especially if you're like, for me personally, like I'm shy, and I know it might come off as that, but I'm definitely like, I hate talking to people. Well, not like that, but in a sense. But I feel like the jobs that I've been, so I used to work retail a lot, and forced me to be able to have small talk and be able to talk to people. But without that barrier, I don't think that I would have been able to just spark up a conversation with anyone, because it wasn't in my nature. Rejection, sensitivity. I don't want, even if it's like I don't like being told no. And I don't like being rejected. Even if it is for something so simple of just saying hi. I'll feel a way if I say hi to someone and they don't say hi back. So
I feel that.
like, I just held the door for you and you didn't say thank you.
Oh, that is the rudest thing.
I should have just let that slam in your goddamn face. So before this book, and I meant to show it before, everyone get your copy on Amazon and leave a review once you read it, please. But before there was a book called Imperfect, obviously, there was a story that led to that. Who were you before you decided to write this book?
Who was I? Oh, that's a good question. Who was I before? I think for me, I was a shy, timid girl, depressed, hiding under this black cloud, always doing things to try to fit in, even though it wasn't who I was. And I think that was the toughest part. Like, I guess I was just living someone else's life that wasn't my own. And I think that's why I wanted to write this book. Because I feel like, again, when I got into my 30s, again, this flip switched, and I was like, God, it is exhausting. And I write that in the book even. So it's just exhausting to wake up every day and pretend to be someone that I'm not. And so maybe if I just share how cruel the world is, share the battles I went through. And again, it's not for sympathy. I don't need any of your guys' sympathy. But it's just to know that, damn, I went through all of this and I'm still coming out the other side. And so can you. And I think that before writing this book, I wouldn't have done a podcast probably with you. I probably would never do this. I would have been under my black shadow. I probably wouldn't go out and about more than I do now. I wouldn't wear shorts as often as I do. I wouldn't just put myself express. Probably create an Instagram. I had to create an Instagram that people said when I did the book. So do things that are out of the norm, because I really just wanted to be private. And instead I might not be good at it, social media, but I'm trying to put myself out there, trying to connect with readers, trying to connect with anyone that maybe felt the way I did for a long time.
I see that. What season of your life planted the first seeds of Imperfect?
What season? I would say it was summer. It took me 2 years to write the book. And prior to writing the book, maybe it was spring, summer, I was reading another book, and it's Dear Black Girls, How to Be True to You by Asia Wilson. And I know I'm not Black, but it was a really good book. it was, and actually one of my favorite comments on Amazon was like, I'm a white woman reading this book for Black women, and it's so good. So
That's so funny that you say that, because when I was reading your questionnaire and I saw that book, I was like, oh shit, let me find out Kat. Let me find out Kat's putting me onto a book.
I'm low-key Black inside. I'll be honest, my friends laugh at me because I watch all the Black movies, all shows. They give me a list and they love it because I'm just all about it. But really it was her story in the spring, summer. I was reading it, and it just, I don't know. I don't really read often, believe it or not, as an author. I should probably read more. But there was just something about her story and the time of year it was. The sun was coming out, right? We're coming out of winter. The sun's coming out, time is changing. And it just was like, oh my God, I want to write a book now. Because I was so inspired by her story. And
what's like in terms of season, where do you think you were in your life? So reflecting on the season, so you said it was the end of winter, it was the beginning of summer, or spring rather, spring, summer.
Yeah,
but So coming out, do you think it was more so because you saw, and this is just me speaking of back to book club, sorry, we're reading the Divine Frequency now. But the last law, as I'm like, Jade, it's not coming to me. But the moral of it was to look at cycles. And one of the examples that it used was someone, his name was Kumar, he was gardening and everything was dying and he wasn't figuring it, he couldn't figure it out. But then the next gardening season he looked at the cycles of what's supposed to grow when you're supposed to plant things. So do you think that you reading that book, mirroring the seasons of things like dying and now blossoming, do you think that you were coming out of your season of depression and you were ready to grow like a butterfly, as I'm like dragging it?
No,
You were in your hibernation phase and then you're evolving into.
I love that. And I think you hit it nail on the head better than I did. I think I agree. 100% agree with that. And I think, yeah, it was that turning point for me. And I loved your actually analogy from that book. Yes, I think with everything blossoming in the garden and again, getting out of the seasonal dark depression of what winter can bring to so many people. And it's kind of seeing a light as you're reading it and the light's coming out, the daylight's lasting. And that's how I feel. It was a time for me to plant my seed and turn a chapter and hopefully grow into something healthier and stronger to last forever.
Nice, I like that. Why the title Imperfect?
Ooh. So that title changed 5 times. So that wasn't even my original title.
Really?
It wasn't. So we, near the end of publishing the book, we decided, because we wanted something bold, right? And so I forgot even my original title, but it was longer. And they're like, no, we need something that would be eye-catching. But I wanted Imperfect to be in it because that's how I describe myself in one word is perfect. And I will live and die by that forever. And so I was going back and forth and they're like, can we just do Imperfect? But then we'll write a raw memoir and journal to describe what the book is. And I said, you know what? I love it. And then when they provided the cover to me, I said, I love it. And I think it just describes how I feel about myself. Doesn't mean that you have to describe yourself that way or feel that way about yourself with whatever you feel is imperfect about you. But I just have always felt imperfect. And I think I always will, even though I'm making strides to accept myself more. I think that, again, no one is perfect. So I think out of the 5 titles, shortening it and being it more bold and eye-catching, we just went with Imperfect because that's, again, what I live and die by.
Cool. I like that. I also appreciate, and I don't know if this was intentional when you guys were designing it, but if I'm perfect, imperfect.
Right on to that. Yes.
Dude,
yes.
that was the first thing that I noticed when I saw the book, and I was just like, I love that. Because although we are imperfect, but we're perfect. No matter the imperfections, like the trials, the tribulations, all of the negatives. No, we're still perfect. So I love that.
I love that, and I put on to that. And I think, too, just while we're on the book title, I think a lot of people don't realize, too, which I thought was really cool. The reason why the book is colored the way it is, no one knows, but it actually represents bruises. So that's why you have those deep. So everything that you see, you can see it more in the back. It's all bruising and scarring from everything that the trial and tribulations I went through. So I think that's, again, there was a lot of detail and care that went into the title, even the pictures prior to each chapter. I wanted to symbolize what that chapter may be about. I wanted to attract any and all readers. So whether you're more of a picture person, whether you're a journaling type of book reader, just try to reach any type of reader combination.
Yep. Definitely. And I love the fact, though, that at the end of each chapter you had that journaling. Because granted, they were reflection questions, but I feel like they were shadow work. I don't know if that was intentional or if you just wanted them.
It was.
So I was like, love that, especially because in book club we were doing the shadow work journal and we've been heavy on the reflecting, and but just tied in perfectly. Did writing this book force you to confront anything about yourself that you hadn't fully dealt with before?
I think the whole book. I think the hardest part was looking at myself and saying, why does my story matter? Right? Why does my story matter? And I think there was a lot of reflection. There was a lot of tears cried, especially for some of the chapters that are really vulnerable near the end. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, it's okay. You said there's a lot of tears in the vulnerable towards the end.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
No, you're
the question again.
The question was, did writing this book force you to confront anything about yourself that you hadn't fully dealt with before?
Yeah, I think, sorry. Yes, I'm really bad at this.
Okay.
See, I think the ugly of me. I think for everything that I thought that was ugly about me, imperfect about me, I had to just say it out loud. I had to hurt, and I had to cry. I had to speak about addiction. People haven't read the book yet. Addictions in there. Speak about the scars that happened with my mother, what happened in college that I've been holding for what feels like centuries. So that's that. I had to go through a lot of emotion and to really just say, Katerina, just be honest with yourself and how you feel. Because you know what? That's what makes a good book is authenticity. It's in who you are. It's the truth. It's my truth. And the biggest thing that has been the hardest for me, and I sorry, I know I'm going a little bit off topic, but I think it's important to say, and I want people, the listeners, to understand that never allow someone to change your truth. No one will ever I always say, I put something on social media the other day. I said, did they live your truth? Did they survive it? No, then don't let anyone tell you to rewrite it, because you know what? After releasing this book, people have told me what I wrote is a lie. And that is the hard truth about that. And I have to live with that every day. I'm sorry, we're going way off topic. I got on a tangent
No,
here.
no, you're fine. Nope. You learned about yourself. Nope. Come on.
But just to own your truth, don't let anyone else say anything about your truth, because you know what? You lived it, you survived it, and you're thriving in it and changing yourself. So, which is important.
Definitely important. And that leads perfectly into this. I believe that every woman has a chapter in her life. That's a lie. Sorry. Nope. That's not what I wanted to do at all.
No one has a chapter.
Bring it back. Come, rewind. Writing is one thing. So standing in your truth. You stood in your truth. You wrote your book. Clock that T. But writing is one thing. Publishing it and allowing strangers to read your thoughts is something completely different. Completely putting your non-liking, vulnerable self out there, ma'am. And I love that for you. But what was the process? What was the writing process actually? Let's say that someone out there, they're ready to stand in their truth and they're ready to publish a book. What was the whole writing process?
I think again, believing your story mattered. If you don't believe your story matters when you're writing, then you shouldn't be writing it, because your story does matter, because everyone's story matters. And I think that's so important, because I think even I lost that faith and belief during my writing. And then when I did lose that, I almost gave up. But there were people like my neighbor who told me, no, my story does matter. And I think that you're constantly question yourself throughout the process, especially being in a vulnerable book like this, if you're doing a memoir. But you have to always remember what your goal is. And in a world that so many of us suppress our emotions and move from obligations, next really take the time to look inward and appreciate how much we've endured and overcome. And I think when you reflect, I think the first step too is writing notes down. Reflect. I think again, being inward and reflecting and being honest with yourself. Be honest how you feel. Like again, being someone that's handicapped, I had to be honest with myself. How I had to look back and say, no, I remember those feelings I had in high school and how people stored them. How I still feel about myself. You have to be so raw and honest with yourself, because when you are, and when you put those pen to paper, people are going to feel those emotions. A common thread I always see in this book is people say you can't read your book and not feel something. And whether it's you feeling something or you feeling something for the author who wrote it, but it's just to feel. And I think that's the hardest thing for any of us, is to just feel emotions and tell ourselves it's okay to feel those emotions. You're just keep writing. As hard as it is, just keep writing, because your story matters.
Your story does matter. What did holding the finished book feel like for the first time?
I remember being so excited when the author copies came in. I called my neighbor again. And we remember she ran over and we had the box and we just sat outside on top of one of my cabinets and we just looked through it. And I was like, is this real life? Did I do something? And I guess and sometimes it doesn't even still sink in with me. I'm even holding it now with you. It's crazy to know that over about 2 years, it came to something. And something I'm proud of and hope to maybe do again in the future. We don't know yet, but I hope that my mission right now is just to continue trying to spread it, but holding it, and for anyone that writes a book, when you hold it, that's when it becomes real. It doesn't matter necessarily how many copies you sell. Obviously, you want people to read it, but just know that you accomplished the goal that you set out, and that's the best feeling in the world.
That is a really good, that has to be a good feeling. Just being able to see like, tangible, just to hold it and
Yeah.
then
Yes.
stop at 5. And then being able to send your copies out. How stinking cool is that? You know,
Oh, it's so cool. I actually sent out 4 this morning, so it's cool.
ooh,
So I try. It's great. EJ's garden community has been really supportive. I think a lot of people who I didn't expect to support me are supporting me. People that your acquaintances back in high school and even college, and they're like, "Oh, I just bought your book," and I'm like, "That's cool, thank you." So it's really, and you connect just like we're reconnecting over how many years since high school. So
dude,
I
literally.
think that's what's so cool. I think our lives may have gone in different directions, but we all find a way to reconnect with each other if you want to.
Definitely that. Definitely that. I believe every woman has a chapter in her life that changes who she becomes. What would you say that chapter was for you?
From the book or just in general?
The book in general, however you would like to answer the question, my love. It's your world. We're just living in it.
I'm gonna go. Well, it's book in real life, obviously, but I said second to last chapter, I wrote about my addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I think to painkillers, and I understand. I first want to say too, I know people who have different addictions and they last, or could be long or short, but addiction is addiction. So although I'm thankful that mine wasn't as long term as some people's are, which I still pray for those people that are struggling with it, that was probably the most traumatic summer of my life, and I think it really changed me. Really changed me. Like got me motivated again during a time to not only did I have to save myself to get out of that addiction, but I also was like, I extended the book, but I'll give a little bit away. But do I want to be home like a family, like my mom struggling, or do I want to be successful? What am I here for? Why did I go to high school? Why did I go to college? What is my purpose in life? And I think when you see the flash before your eyes, you get that moment. And that was my wake up moment. And I think it changed for the better. I have a really good career I enjoy. I made something on my life. My loans are paid off from college. And I think if I didn't have that wake up moment and I didn't have that mental strength, I don't know if we would be talking today. And I don't know, because any addiction, unfortunately, they can go longer than others. And some people don't get the support, or some people don't have that strength in them to do it themselves. And that was a really pivotal learning moment in my life. And I think about it often still. And I keep it as a reminder in my head, never to let yourself get that low again.
Definitely. If you could sit beside Kat, who was going through that season, knowing everything now, what would you tell her?
During that season, be smarter. I guess be smarter, and you really. Oh, that's a tough question. Like, be smart and ask for help. I know I asked my mom for help and she wasn't there, but why didn't I ask my dad? Why was I so worried about disappointing Samantha, my sister, or my dad? The 2 people that I love the most in life and that have always been by me. Why didn't I reach out to them? And maybe I would have helped myself to say, you know what, they're not going to judge you. They're going to still love you no matter what. And I think if I just reached out to Samantha, especially because we're so close, Samantha would have been like, I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to stop this. Give me your pills. And she's that type of person. She's like my ride or die. And she would probably won't know how to figure it out, but she'd be like, let's start with give me the pills first. And then we're going to go from there. And I think I wish I just wasn't so afraid of disappointing people.
I feel
and
that.
in a long scheme of things, I disappointed myself,
And that's who you hurt ultimately that's who we hurt the most is ourselves.
Yeah.
No, I definitely resonate with that. One reason that I think Imperfect resonates with women is because so many of us feel pressure to have everything together. Where do you think that pressure comes from?
I think a couple different things. I think society, I think being adopted, I'm adopted, and I think just never fitting in. So I think when you have a world that is constantly telling women to keep climbing and you're having this glass ceiling, and then on the other scheme of things, I'm adopted, I don't really fit into this family I'm in. How are you not clawing at the wall? How are you not trying to do everything that you can to change the narrative to be who you think you're going to be? But how do you get there when you have 2 sides? Like, you don't really have an angel and a devil. You have a devil at you fighting you, and you have to fight every single step of the way.
No, it's true. Excuse me. I remember with reading that you were adopted, but I completely forgot. I didn't like knowing you back then. I didn't really know you.
It's okay.
Other, if that makes sense. Obviously, we're more like acquaintances. But your book definitely helped get us will make me know you way, way more. So I appreciate you opening up and being vulnerable. But your book also helped me realize that although we didn't really know each other, we were so similar in so many different aspects. It's just, even still talking to you now, wait a second, bruh. Like, that's literally me. Why are we the same person? But I feel like that's important for people to speak up and tell their stories so others know that they're not alone in any situation that they're going through, and that there's, even if it's just one person that's still going through it, you can always have a fallback and just be like, okay, so she went through it. Even if you don't want to directly, I don't know what I'm trying to say, if you don't want to directly talk to someone, or if you do want to talk to someone, you know that you can talk to someone because they've
Right.
also been through it. I don't know if that just makes sense. I don't know if I just rambled.
No, it makes sense. The thing is, too, we're all gonna have our own experiences with whatever that situation may be, but we all align in some way. And I think the most common thing is to know that you're never alone. That's always support if you want it. And it could be from a stranger like me. I've gotten Instagram messages from readers, and they just need an ear to listen, and I'm here, which is cool. And then if they want me to help them more, then no. And if they're just like, no, I just want need an ear, I think if we can create more environments like that, maybe we can beat whatever we're going through and just know that, build that confidence to continue moving on. And we just always need what you're creating here at MJ's Gardens. Like, we need a community that just supports each other right, through the
Literally.
highs and lows of life.
No, definitely that. How do you think that women can learn to give themselves the same grace that they give everyone else? We had talked about this earlier in the interview.
Oh, I even say in my book, though, I don't even I'm like the worst person to ask this question because I don't even give myself enough grace. To be honest, with all that I have accomplished in life, I don't know how to give myself grace. I think because I just have never be satisfied mindset. So I'm like the worst person to say that. But I would just, I try, if I had a little bit of advice that I don't take myself, but I will give it to you, is you have to find ways to give yourself grace. Find those small wins. We all want that big one eventually, right? But find those small wins in the day. Is it, we'll go back to your first kind of joke in the beginning. Is it someone opening the door for you? Is it making your, does that make your day easier if you have like a bunch of boxes or whatever you're raking hand, is like someone doing that? Is it, I don't know, finding a penny on the ground? This simple things that make you smile throughout the day, that's a small win to me. Is it that you got a pat on the back at work saying you did a great job on something? I think in those moments, just kind of, whether it's a good or bad day, I got to give myself grace. I know I work hard every day. I provide for my family. If you have a family, you do such and such. So I don't take that advice myself, but you definitely take that from me.
If you say it, you're planting the seed. So listen, as I minister to you, I minister to myself. It's a learning experience. We're all learning and growing together.
Yes.
Can we still want to grow and become better without constantly feeling like who we are right now isn't enough?
Can we constantly grow, even if, like, constantly grow and develop if we're not feel like we're not? I always feel like I'm never enough. And I think that people that believe that or think of that themselves will always still find ways to thrive because we always want to prove something to ourselves. People that feel that way, and I can speak that way because that's the way I feel. Like, I think I always want to prove myself. And so even though I feel that way, I can still succeed, right? I can still write a book. You could host a podcast if that's how you felt. And the reason why we're able to do that, because even though voices in our head are telling us that, we have other support people, potentially, not everyone. If you have at least one person, like my neighbor, who's supportive and diminish those voices in my head for that small window, I can still take that leap of faith into success. So I think it's a balancing act, and it's easier said than done. But
Of course.
voices are voices, but it's just like you can still be successful and still feel like I'm not enough, unfortunately. But you are enough, and I think that, and I tell myself that every day, even with the book and everything. Like, every day I feel like I'm not enough, but I'm like, I am enough. I'm still thriving. I'm having opportunities. I'm helping others, and you got to just remember the good things in life.
Definitely. Definitely have to remember the good things in life. What's next for you, my love? Are you writing anything new? Is this going to be are you one and done? Is something else in the works?
It's wild because I've gotten a lot of requests to actually ask when my second book is, which I think is honored to those people that really attach to. So I don't think it will be anything soon, to be honest. I think I'm just going to really hone in on this one, keep trying to connect to people, to keep trying to take advantage of opportunities, whether it's talking at colleges or with younger youth groups about it. and whatever they want. But just enjoying the moment right now. It's only been out since March of 2026, so I'm still just,
It's a
you
March
know,
baby like me.
so I'm just taking care of opportunities like this to talk about it, hopefully inspire others. But we'll see. Maybe you never know in the future.
No, I definitely get it. So rapid fire. Rapid.
Oh God. All right.
It's just a this or that. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Paperback, hardwood, no.
Hardwood.
Paperback, hardcover, or audiobook?
Ooh. I would do paperback.
Me too. I need to be able to, and I need to touch it, so it can't be audio. Morning writer or a late night writer?
Ooh, definitely late night writer.
Nice. I feel like I function better at night too. Books or movies?
Movies. I feel like I should be saying books, but it's movies.
You shouldn't be saying anything but what you won't love. Planner or go with the flow?
Oh, planner.
Introvert or extrovert, excuse me.
Introvert.
One book everyone should read besides Imperfect.
I'll go with Asia's Dear Black Girls.
I love it. No, stop. Say loud and proud. One word that describes your journey so far.
Ooh, one word. Emotional.
And one thing you're you're still learning to embrace about yourself.
I guess my legs, my handicapness, and embracing my prosthetics.
Now we've reached my favorite part. What does being rooted in her mean to you?
Oh, it means everything. It's so strong, and I think that it just means just understanding women and supporting women, and it's not just what's on the surface. It's really getting to know us and knowing us more than what just meets the eye. I think that's what
I like that. Rooted. What keeps you grounded when life gets messy?
my faith.
Who or what helped plant the strongest roots in your life?
Myself. Is that terrible to say? I've always been independent and I've always been going through life by myself. So I would say myself and my faith, I guess.
No, what do you hope women take away from not just your book, but from your overall story?
Ooh, that's a good one. I guess a wise woman once told me that sometimes people react negatively because accepting your truth would require them to acknowledge they weren't there when they needed it the most.
Ooh,
so
that's
a lesson that stayed with me. And again, not everyone will understand or support you, but that doesn't make your experience less valid. So I hope viewers find the courage to own their story, speak their truth, and never let their voice be diminished. Sometimes they had a good one.
Stop all of the time. Here at Rooted in Her, we believe every story plants something within us. So I ask every woman who sits with me one final question. Kat, what has your journey rooted within you?
Ooh, what has my journey rooted within me? That's a really good question. Just to be unapologetically myself, I guess, and to trust the journey and never let others define your worth.
Oh, trust the journey, never let others define your worth. I like that. And then one more before we go. There may be a woman watching right now who feels like she's behind. She sees everyone else succeeding. Everyone else seems to have life figured out. Meanwhile, she feels messy, uncertain, maybe even imperfect. What would you say to her?
Remember that perfectly imperfect is enough, and that it just takes one day, one time, just one afternoon. Take it day by day and just start, whether it's picking up a pen and paper. If you're starting a business, that's still picking up a pen and paper and writing down what you dream of. Just start with that. Just start with what you're hoping to reach and you'll get there. But perfectly imperfect is enough. And that's what I always say to myself. And that's why I sign off my books in when I sign them. And just believe in yourself. That's all you have to do. If you can just believe in yourself and try. And it's going to be hard. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. Believe me. But just believe in yourself and you'll get there. And just ask for help too if you need it.
Yes, ask for help. Kat, thank you so much for coming to MJ's Garden and allowing us to meet not only the author of Imperfect, but the woman behind it. I think one of the biggest reminders from today is that we don't have to wait until we're perfectly healed, perfectly confident, or perfectly prepared before our lives can have purpose. If today's conversation resonated with you, please support Kat, check out Imperfect, and follow her journey. We'll have more information on where you can connect with her and find the book in the description. And remember, support doesn't always have to be financial. Leave a comment, share her story, recommend her book. You never know who may need the message that you're helping spread. And if you have a message, or a story that you'd like to share, Rooted in Her is open to you too. You don't have to own a business, you don't have to be an author or have thousands of followers. If you have a journey, a passion, a purpose, or a story that could help another woman feel less alone, we want to hear from you. A new Rooted in Her episode premieres every Saturday at 11 a.m. Until next time, stay rooted, keep growing, and remember your story could be exactly what another woman needs to hear. I will see you guys next Saturday. Bye.